Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to another Modern Horizons draft video. Now, I'm sorry this one's coming out so late, but I got to hang out with my brother. This is still kind of residual from the water cooler incident because I've not been able to backlog more videos so that I can actually do things on different days that I need to do. So hopefully I can get around to that very shortly, maybe today. But I've got stuff I've got to do. It's Father's Day, and I've got some stuff planned with Dad for later in the day. But I think we're going to take Archon of Cruelty. This is definitely a Reanimator card, so we're going to see if we can't make the black-white Reanimator deck work. Yeah, I mean, Goblin Trap Runner's fun, but let's try and do the Reanimator deck. I don't think I did that very well the first time around, and I feel like that archetype is probably better than I showed off. But I'm not 100% that it's going to be great. So, in the Reanimator deck, what do we need? We need a big dumb threat, we need a reanimation spell, and we need discard outlets. So, Lens Flare is not a bad removal spell, especially if we do get some of the lower drop artifacts or discard outlets. Milliken technically could mill our reanimation threat if we continue to do this. I don't know if we'll actually be able to. I think Tyzerus Charger, Vermin Gorger would probably be better, unless I take Raving Visionary. I could do like an Esper Mill deck and take like a Looter. I might try that. So we'll see what happens. Alright, in this pack we've got Constable of the Realm, Lucid Dreams, Glinting Creeper. I've not seen like any of these cards. I think we take Mistvault or Goldmire Bridge out of this pack. None of the uncommons are particularly fantastic. Seal of Cleansing's not bad to have, actually. I'm going to take the blue land so like, if I potentially splash blue, I think that works out a little bit better. Alright, in this pack we have a discard outlet, we have a basic land cycler Arcus Acolyte, which is double off color, but still kind of cool. World Weary, let's see. I think we take Landscaper Kolos over World Weary because they're both basic land cyclers. I don't think we need the Necromancer's Familiar. But this, honestly, just a 4/6 if you reanimate it, seemed like it was enough versus us a couple of times. So I'm going to take the Landscaper Kolos. Okay. In this pack we've got Soul of Migration, which is one of the like traditional Reanimator targets in Limited here. Scourge Familiar is not bad, I just don't think we need that mana necessarily. Skyblade's Boon is good repeatable value, but I think we just take the Soul here, pretty sure. Alright, in this pack, we have a Combat Trick to keep stuff alive, a 2-mana 1/1 with protection from artifacts that flies, Legion Vanguard. I think I'm going to take the Combat Trick, actually. I don't think I'm going to take the Burdened Area List. Okay, so the intent is to probably splash blue, but I can't pass up an actual reanimation spell here. We need almost as many copies of this as we can get, because it seems like there's not that many that ever go around. Alright, Chef's Kiss, hilariously fun to play. Not what we're looking to do in this deck, though. Right now, we kind of need more discard outlets so we can actually discard Archon of Cruelty at some point. I think I take a Guilt Blade Prowler or a Bottle Golems. Bottle Golems can help keep us alive versus the more aggressive decks. I'm not a huge fan of Guilt Blade Prowler, so I'm going to take this. Patchwork Gnomes. Patchwork Gnomes is a discard outlet. Echoing Return wouldn't be bad, especially if we end up with a bunch of creatures with the same name. But we'll go with Patchwork Gnomes. It's a good discard outlet. We are definitely playing white at this point in time. I think I will take Lens Flare because we have some number of artifacts, so even if this just costs like 4, it will be good. Goldmire Bridge is double on-color fixing. I know I've drafted only like white and blue cards, but we're going to need black fixing. Because the other Reanimator cards are black. Unbounded Potential is not bad, but I think it's better in an aggro deck. Glinting Creepers for the 5-color deck. Yeah, we take the Goldmire Bridge for sure. Necromancer's Familiar fits in this deck better than Guilt Blade Prowler does, and I don't think we're splashing Lose Focus because the replicate cost is prohibitive to splash. Turok's Canticle or Disciple of the Sun. Disciple of the Sun's just value and can keep us alive. It has lifelink. Another Bottle Golems or a Legion Vanguard. I think Legion Vanguard is technically the pick. And a lose focus for the sideboard. Alright. Yavimaya, Cradle of Growth. Is that worth anything? It is worth 2 tickets. So, not in this deck. So for our deck, I think the best card for us is either Bone Shards or Dihada's Ploy. Dihada's Ploy is much stronger, helps us cycle through our deck a little bit. Bone Shards is removal, and we really only have one piece of removal at this point. I think we have to go with the easier to cast and potentially higher payoff. Like Dihada's Ploy being a multiple discard outlet, if we can get even one of these spells, I will definitely splash it. But I think Bone Shards we gotta take right now. Upheaval and a Riptide Laboratory. I don't think Riptide Laboratory is worth anything. Online it is not. And neither is Upheaval. I still need to build and play an Upheaval deck. Maybe I'll do that next. Goldmire Bridge or Break Ties. There's Discerning Taste. Discerning Taste can help dig us through our deck quickly. We can hopefully pick up a reanimation spell and then dump the threat into the grave. I think we gotta go with Discerning Taste, because one of the biggest problems I had with the last deck that I played that was Reanimator is I wasn't getting through my deck fast enough. This gains us life and finds us what we need. I think last time I had too many removal spells and not enough other, like, Reanimator support cards. So Flay Essence is a very strong removal spell. Is Rishadan Dockhand worth anything? It is not. Okay. I think I take another Bone Shards here, though. I think in this deck it's generally going to be better than Flay Essence, but if I can get a Flay Essence, I would be fine with it. Persist. Here we go. Another reanimation spell. So we have the potential to turn 1, like Bone Shards, a 1-drop, drop Archon, turn 2, persist it. That would be amazing. Yeah, we're definitely taking Persist. Alright, I like Greed. I don't mind Arcbound Javelineer, I think. Scour the Desert is a pseudo-reanimation spell, but I don't like it that much. I think I would rather have the Greed here. We could take Chrome Courier as a way to gain a little bit of life, but we may not even be splashing blue at this point. I'll take Greed. Okay, I like Clattering Augur. It's a little more value if we dump it into the grave off Discerning Taste. It helps us cycle through our deck. It can't block, but I don't think that matters. It's something that we can repeatedly sack to something like Legion Vanguard. Suspend. Well, I already have my playset. I don't need it. We're definitely going to take Late to Dinner here. I think we have enough discard outlets with 2 Bone Shards, a Patchwork Gnomes, a few other cards that we'll take Late to Dinner here. So the real trick is just going to be drawing the cards we need in the combinations that we need them. I'm going to take Goldmire Bridge because I really wouldn't mind having better mana, and I have Lens Flare. The more Goldmire Bridges I take, the better a Lens Flare gets, the better a second Lens Flare potentially is. I wouldn't mind a Landscaper Kolos either, but I think the fixing is more important. And the better our fixing gets, the more likely it is I will actually splash blue for like Dihada's Ploy and things like that. So I'm going to take Dihada's Ploy out of this pack because I don't think I need a Knighted Mirror or a Nested Shambler here. Okay, a third Goldmire Bridge or a Razortide Bridge. Let's take the blue land. Break Ties is an excellent spell in this format for sure, but I think I just want the fixing. Okay, Guardian Kirin, Underworld Hermit. We're not really going to build that much devotion to black. This kind of strikes me as a potential Reanimator target, but we already have better ones that are easier to get in the grave. Yeah, I'll take the Guardian Kirin. I'm probably not playing it, but... Okay, Break the Ice, Breathless Night, or World Weary. I think I take the removal. Breathless Night is good. Yeah, actually, let's take the Breathless Night. Whoop, I did not mean to take a second Disciple of the Sun, but I guess that's what's happening now. Fairgrounds Patrol, it gives some value from the grave, so if we discard it to a Bone Shards, it's not bad. And an Unbounded potential. Has the potential to be strong, but it is better in the red-white deck for sure. So on to pack 3. Oh wow, okay. We have Unmarked Grave. So we have basically Entomb Exhume in the form of Unmarked Grave, Persist, and Archon of Cruelty. I think this is the only chance we're ever going to have to make the Reanimator deck work. So we're definitely taking Unmarked Grave here. I'm just taking a look at what I'm passing. Hellmongrel wouldn't be bad for a discard outlet. Thraben Watcher is kind of nice because we're not going to make that many tokens if we make any tokens. Magus of the Bridge. It's a rare. It's a 3-mana 4/4. Whenever a non-token creature is put into your graveyard from the battlefield, make a zombie. And whenever a creature is put into an opponent's graveyard from the battlefield. Nope. I don't think Magus of the Bridge is playable in basically any respect. Our best bet here is going to be probably Step Through or Chrome Courier. I guess Kitchen Imp. You know what? It's a rare I don't have. I'll put it in the sideboard, but I don't think I'm going to play it. Okay, so a second Dihada's Ploy, a second Landscaper Kolos, or a Bone Shredder. I kind of like Bone Shredder, just as a removal spell. I don't have that many. It's a creature, and worst case scenario, we get it into the grave, and we can use a reanimation spell as a kill spell then. I'll take the Bone Shredder. Okay, Territorial Kavu might be worth something. It is not. Cabal Initiate is another discard outlet. I think I take the Goldmire Bridge. Just make our mana better. Shardless Agent. We have a bunch of stuff that we would not want to cascade into, and we're not in the right colors anyway. I think I take the Kolos or the Soul of Migration. And I'm going to go with the Kolos. Alright, we've got another late to dinner. I'm really happy to see that, actually. I'll take another late to dinner. Another Goldmire Bridge. I mean, even if all my mana is coming in tapped, I'll be able to cast anything. Our biggest issue is going to be running into the guy playing like 3 Tormod's Crypt Keepers. Alright, we can either take a Breathless Knight or a Break Ties, and honestly, I really want the Break Ties. This card is versatile enough that I really want to main deck it. Breathless Knight's great, but we're not going to be making it bigger at any point. It's basically going to be a chump blocker that delays, so... Power Depot, we're never going to tap for mana to cast anything. Guess I can take a Cursed Totem for the sideboard. Let's see... Guess I'll take a Chrome Courier. We have a lot of artifact lands, so it could gain us life. Soul of Migration, don't mind another reanimation target. Cabal Initiate, another discard outlet. Anything, and anything. Alright. I think we've got ourselves a deck. 4 reanimation spells, one of which is the rare reanimation spell. We have a lot of good discard outlets, and we actually have the Entomb. So we can go search up, and we have, of course, the best Reanimator target, arguably, in the format. I can't think of a better one right now, anyway. In the form of the 8-mana Archon. So we just have the full suite of powerful spells. Let's see, group creatures separately. What are we dealing with? So I could cut blue with the exception of, like, maybe Dihada's Ploy, but actually don't even think I need to run blue at all. That just makes my life easier. Even though I have a lot of fixing with, like, Landscaper Kolos, basic land cycling and stuff like that. Maybe it is worth it to play Dihada's Ploy, because I feel like if I don't, I'm going to run into a situation where I can't dig through my deck fast enough for what I need. Considering the only dig that I have is Discerning Taste, Dihada's Ploy, and Greed if the game goes really long. So let's get rid of Guardian Kirin, Disciple of the Sun. Disciple of the Sun can recycle Bone Shredder, which is pretty nice. I may not need Blacksmith Skill. Unbounded Potential is not for this deck. Lens Flare, we have enough artifact lands to make it work. Man, what else do I cut? Bottle Golems, we bring it in versus aggro. I guess Lens Flare is worse than my other removal, in the form of Bone Shards, Break Ties, and Bone Shredder. And then I can get rid of, I guess, Fairgrounds Patrol? Combine groups, add 6 artifact lands. I mean, I'm probably never going to hardcast anything above Disciple of the Sun. So I think 16 lands is fine. Yeah, I think we got a much better Reanimator deck this time around, so hopefully my feeling is accurate. And I'll see you guys in round 1. Alright, well we have black and blue, and Dihada's Ploy, Persist, and Discerning Taste. So we should be able to dig to a reanimation target, or discard a reanimation target if we draw one. So I'm going to keep this hand. Plus we're on the draw, and we just need to make it to 3 lands. And we did. Alright. Pass the turn. We untap, we draw Mistvault Bridge. So play a Swamp. Play a Legion Vanguard. Pass the turn. Opponent is playing every color under the sun. So let's play an island. Let's go ahead and Discerning Taste. I guess I'll take the Cabal Initiate. Gain a little life. Then pass the turn. Now I could persist that Soul of Migration, but it kind of seems like a little bit of a waste. Opponent plays a Fortune's Flame. Let's go ahead and Dihada's Ploy, ditch the Kolos, play a Goldmire Bridge, and pass the turn. I really want to see if we can reanimate that Archon. So opponent attacks with Usury. They chose 5. They lost 2. So they drew 3 cards. That's pretty dang good. They have Lannis and Brea's Apprentice. We untap. We draw a Chattering Augur. Play Chattering Augur. Lose a life, draw a card. Let's go ahead and Unmarked Grave. We will put Archon of Cruelty into the grave. Play a Goldmire Bridge. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a Swamp. Then they play a Wave Sifter, get a bunch of clues. They're going to attack us for 4. They choose 3 this time. I don't think I'm going to chump. Okay, we untap. We draw Landscaper Kolos. So let's go ahead and persist Archon of Cruelty. Make them discard a card, sack a creature. So they sack the Thopter. They can pay 1 to amass. Oh, I should have played Breathless Knight first. I guess I lost a little bit of value there. Because that would have been a 3-3 with lifelink. Let's play the tap land and pass. We can Dihada's Ploy or Break Ties, depending on what we want to do. We can also explore with Legion Vanguard to sack the Chattering Augur, or Clattering Augur. Okay, so we sack the Archon. Put it on top. I guess we... Yeah, okay, we lose that. They go to combat. They attack for a lot. We cannot block. So we take a lot of damage. Go to 10. Untap. Draw late to dinner. Play a Plains. I guess we do play Breathless Knight first. Then late to dinner Archon of Cruelty. Comes back bigger this time. Target our opponent. Breathless Knight gets a 1/1 counter. Opponent has to sack and discard. They sack Usury. On discard Gargadon, we draw Disciple of the Sun and gain 3 life. Opponent amasses into a 4/4. They untap. They play a land. They play an Ethereum Spinner and investigate. And they have a Terminal Agony for the Archon. Okay. I have no idea what's on top of my deck. Trading this knight might be correct unless I'm drawing another reanimation spell. I'd be taking 7 and going to 6. I'm going to do it. So this way I only take 1 and go to 12. We untap. If we draw another reanimation spell, another late to dinner, our opponent is going to be very sad. Our opponent sacked 5 clues and got a patchwork gnome. We revealed both late to dinners, so we're not drawing one this turn. We draw Bone Shredder. Target non-artifact, non-black creature. So Lannis? I think that's the only legal target. So let's play Disciple of the Sun. Pick up... I could pick up a land if I want to play Bone Shredder. Otherwise, I'm playing Cabal Initiate this turn, or Legion Vanguard, but... Let's take Breathless Knight. And I'm going to basic land cycling so that I can shuffle, and hopefully those 2 late to dinners will not be on the bottom of the deck. We'll get a Plains, and we can reinforce to gain 1 extra life. It might matter. Pass the turn. My opponent is hopefully out of action. They play a tap land. I think they crack the clue to draw this turn. They go to combat. They swing with everybody. So we have to block the army because, or not, we're just dead. Because they have a Terminal Madness. Or Terminal Agony. That is unfortunate. Well, our opponent's mana seems really rough. So I'm hoping that if we mulligan into like a fast reanimate hand, we'll be fine. Like if we can get a turn 3 Archon, that would be good. We'll see. Alright, well we have all 3 colors of mana, greed, removal, a creature to block, and a reanimate, just nothing to reanimate. I think we keep this hand. We'll lead on Razortide Bridge, try and play a Legion Vanguard, hope to draw Archon, or a land to at least get to greed, and then try and greed our way to victory. So, lead on Razortide Bridge, pass the turn. Opponent leads on a mountain. We draw another Bone Shards. Play the Vanguard. Pass the turn. Opponent plays an island and suspends a Gargadon. We untap, we draw a Swamp. Play a Plains, go to combat. Attack our opponent for 2. I'm happy we drew another Black Source because that makes greed better in the short term. Opponent plays a Swamp into a Usuri. We untap, draw an island. So we can either play greed or we can take out Usuri, and I think what we have to do is kill Usuri. I'm going to discard this island because we really only need 4 mana right now. I don't want to discard my other Bone Shards because I'm going to need to kill Gargadon somehow. Opponent plays a Harmonic Prodigy. We untap. We draw Unmarked Grave. Well, I guess that answers that question. My opponent could have Grave Hate, but I think we gotta go for it. Put Archon in the grave, pass the turn. Gargadon goes down to 1. Opponent no attacks, we untap. We draw late to dinner. Well, see if they got it. And by that I mean a lose focus. If they can exile Archon, that's even worse. But it doesn't look like they can. So they're sacking their creature, they're discarding a card. We draw Landscaper Kolos. They discard Terminal Madness, which I guess is a way to deal with Archon of Cruelty. But if they don't play a second creature to go along with this Gargadon, we're going to make them sack it. And that'll probably... Did I say Archon or Gargadon? Because I meant Gargadon. If they don't play a second creature to go alongside the Gargadon, this Archon's just going to make them eat it, and we're good. Otherwise we have Bone Shards if we draw land. third late to dinner. Graveyard contents. The same Archon of Cruelty. I lose the Gargadon. They madness another Terminal Agony. Yep. Play Goldmire Bridge. Go to combat. I mean, like, this Archon of Cruelty is very similar to a Croxa or like a Smallpox type effect. It's just at a generally prohibitive cost. Opponent Madness is a third Terminal Agony because they go, there's no way my opponent has a third or fourth reanimation spell. We draw Cabal Initiate. Reanimate Archon of Cruelty. Opponent discards a card in hand. We play Goldmire Bridge. Pass the turn. Well, at the very least, we have a ton of food. We'll be able to play a Greed. So even if my opponent does have a way to kill this Archon, they're at 3. Opponent discards a Wave Sifter and scoops. So opponent's mana seems pretty hard to make work. So I think what happens in this next game is going to be very dependent on what mana my opponent draws. I think I'm going to not have Necromancer's Familiar in here. I'm going to bring in Blacksmith Skill, and we'll try and run it like this. It also depends on what kind of hand I keep. Because if I keep a hand that does nothing, then I might be in trouble. So like this hand, we have all of our colors of mana. We do have a spell to dig with. I don't know if it's going to be fast enough. Opponent immediately mulligan to 6. I think I am going to keep it then. Alright, we untap. We draw Breathless Knight, so lead on Goldmire Bridge. Pass the turn. Well, Breathless Knight at least is something we can play to impact the board. We untap. Draw Plains. Play Razortide Bridge. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They basic land cycle a battle plan. Getting a mountain. We untap, we draw Persist, which may or may not be good. Play Plains. Let's go Breathless Knight here. I suspect my opponent has Unholy Heat, but I'm not really able to play around that. And I don't want to start digging when I have the opportunity to put a lifelinking creature on the board right now. Usury, Fortune's Flame, we untap. We draw Swamp. Okay. So we are going to lead on Dihada's Ploy. Ditching, I think, Mistvault Bridge. Play a Swamp. Pitch our island to kill Usury. Go to combat. Attack for 2. Okay. Opponent's turn. I could have, I think, gained 1 more life if I'd played that the other way around, but opponent plays an Ethereum Spinner. We draw Goldmire Bridge. So ditch this Plains. Discard Goldmire Bridge. Go to combat. Attack for 2. Okay, we gain 2, go up to 27. Play a Swamp. And because we're holding both Unmarked Grave and Persist... Oh, I should have played the Goldmire Bridge. I was going to play Unmarked Grave that turn and then change my mind at the last minute. But because we have both Unmarked Grave and Persist, I'm going to cast them both in the same turn to try and play around a Graveyard Exiling spell. So we draw Bone Shards. Play Goldmire Bridge. Unmarked Grave. Get Archon of Cruelty. Persist Archon of Cruelty. Opponent sacks their Thopter. We draw a Soul of Migration. Well, that's a good backup plan. If our opponent has a Graveyard Exiling spell, we can Soul of Migration, then reanimate that. Okay, opponent has a Terminal Agony, which gives them another Thopter. We take 2, untap. We draw another late to dinner. Alright, well, what we're going to do here is discard the Soul of Migration to a Bone Shards, because this way we kill all of their creatures. Late to dinner the Archon to get rid of the last one. Make them discard. They're down to 2 cards in hand. Even if one of them is a hard removal spell, we get to reanimate it again. And we have a Blacksmith skill, so I think this game is over. Yep. 100% over. That was busted. And all it took was 2 rares and a mythic that happened to synergize in ways that other rares don't. I'll see you guys in round 2. Alright. While we do have all of our colors of magic here, I think I'm going to mulligan. This hand is slightly better, but I think we can go to 5. I like this a lot better. We will keep. I'm going to put back Landscaper Kolos and, oof, I think a land, actually. Alright, we draw late to dinner, so we've got all of our components. I mean, had I known that was what I was top decking, I would not have put back the land, right? But when it starts Drossforge Bridge into Plains, plays a Sinister Starfish, we draw a Break Ties. Play a Swamp. And I think we're going to go ahead and just get that out of the way. I don't want my opponent manipulating their draws, especially playing lands of this many different colors. Okay, they play an a burdened aerialist. We untap and draw an unmarked grave. So I guess we cast unmarked grave, and we're going to put, I think, Dihada's Ploy into the grave, because that gives us our best chance of drawing a land, or drawing 2 lands. Pass the turn. So if we could draw Persist, or we could draw land, that would be excellent. Untapped land, ideally. Opponent sacks their treasure token for double blue, and suspends Inevitable Betrayal. Well, thankfully they cannot get cards out of the grave. None of our other creatures are on the same level as Archon, so... Well, we didn't draw land. Absolutely punished for putting that land back. Maybe I shouldn't have. Maybe I should have put back Discerning Taste. Okay, opponent plays a Kitchen Imp. They are going to hit us for 5. We go to 12, untap. We draw Persist. Here we go. Persist Archon of Cruelty. Opponent has to discard, sacrifice, and lose life. And we even draw the land. Perfect. Play an island, pass the turn. So the best our opponent's going to be able to do is a Landscaper Kolos or a Landscaper Kolos or a Soul of Migration, neither of which are particularly good, if we're being 100% honest. So, go to combat, attack, Archon trigger, opponent loses their guy, we get a Landscaper Kolos. They take 5, go to 9. It's Discerning Taste. Get a Plains. So the best creature in our deck right now, I believe, is Landscaper Kolos number 2. Every other big creature in the deck's in our grave. That's amazing. It's the worst Inevitable Betrayal. Like, that card is actually really, really good against us. And if my opponent is playing green or has any of the... I think... Is Shardless Agent the only Cascade card? It might be. If my opponent is able to, like, Cascade into it early, we are so boned. But, like, we've been pretty consistently getting our guy into the grave because we mulligan aggressively to do it. So I'm not super scared about this, but... Clattering Augur. Alright. Opponent plays a tap land. I mean, even if they have a removal spell, yeah. Even if they have a removal spell, we're immediately going to reanimate it again. I don't know how they beat that. Yeah, run it back. We just have to make sure we can get Archon of Cruelty into our grave before our opponent can possibly have a Inevitable Betrayal off suspend, which I think would be earliest turn 6. Okay, that's a mulligan. This is not terrible, but not great either. I think I'm going to go to 5. Well, we have Persist, we have Archon of Cruelty in hand. So if I put back a Break Ties and a Goldmire... Break Ties and a Goldmire Bridge, I think we're alright. Actually, I'm going to put back Greed. What am I thinking? Greed is good, obviously, but... all we need to do now is draw anything we can use to put Archon of Cruelty into the grave. Anything at all. Bonus points if it's a Bone Shards on a creature, and then we can do it all in one turn on turn 3. Oh, that would just be the nuts. Play another Goldmire Bridge. Pass the turn. Tap land, tap land, tap land for our opponent. We untap. We draw late to dinner, which is good. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a mountain. 4 mana. Turok's Canticle. So their best bet is to take a reanimation spell, but then we discard at random, and if we discard Archon and they don't hit the other reanimation spell, they're done. Well, they took Persist and hit a Plains. We untap. We draw Soul of Migration. Play a Plains. Evoke it. Get some birds. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. Plays a tap land. They play a Burdened Aerialist. We untap. We draw a Mistvault Bridge. Play the bridge. Go to combat. Attack for 2. 5 mana allows us to Bone Shards and then late to dinner in the same turn. Opponent plays a Plains. Attacks for 3. That's fine. If I draw another reanimation spell before I draw a discard outlet, I'm happy to reanimate Soul of Migration, but obviously Archon of Cruelty is better. So opponent casts Step Through. Draw Clattering Augur. We could hit like Dihada's Ploy, get the Archon in the grave, that'd be excellent. Play an island. Like, reanimating Soul of Migration is possibly correct, but my opponent has so few cards in hand that I think it's better to try and wait and draw anything, because we have a lot of ways to discard. Take 3, untap. We draw a Swamp. We may just hardcast this thing. We're at 7. Go to combat. Yeah, I think at this point we're going to reanimate the Soul of Migration. Because, like, what are they going to do? Okay, so we reanimate the Soul of Migration, pass the turn. We draw any untapped land, and we have an Archon of Cruelty. They World Weary to kill the Soul. Then they pass. Crack the Food, because I don't think we have a reason not to. We don't have any gain life triggers. Untap. We draw Breathless Night. So, go to combat. Swing with the team. Opponent takes it. Goes to 14. Play a Breathless Night. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a land. 5, 6, 7 mana. They play a Soul of Migration. Okay. Kind of seems like my opponent might have like a Reanimator sub-theme as well. Or they're just playing it as a value creature, because honestly Soul of Migration is really not bad value, especially in Limited. They attack us for 3. I am going to trade. Alright, come on, land. We draw Disciple of the Sun. That's a land. Go to combat. Swing with the team. When it blocks and trades. Takes 1. Getting Breathless Night back might be the correct choice here. Because if my opponent has another Turok's Canticle or another way to make us discard, this is going to make us really sad. But, like, the upside is we still have 2 more reanimation spells we can draw, and we have a life-linking creature on board now. 4 mana, opponent plays a Kitchen Imp, attacks us for 3 in the air. Sure. Take 3, go to 15. We untap. We draw a Soul of Migration. So go to combat. Attack our opponent for 4. Okay, opponent blocks. Takes 1, we gain 3. Cast Archon. Opponent sacks the bird, loses 3 life, we gain 3 life, and draw a reanimation spell. Opponent has a Revolutionist, so they can pick up Step Through or Turok's Canticle. They can't pick up World Weary, and that doesn't kill Archon anyway. Turok's Canticle might be their best bet because we have 2 cards in hand. That looks like exactly what they're doing. Okay. Opponent untaps. They draw. They play a tap land. They flay Essence to exile Archon of Cruelty. Yeah, this game is definitely not over then. Because now we're both hellbent. Opponent attacks us for 4. We go to 17. We untap. We draw Unmarked Grave. I can Unmarked Grave to put Tihada's Ploy in the grave. So go to combat. Attack, attack. Okay. Opponent trades. We gain 3. They take 1. Unmarked Grave. Yeah, it looks like Tihada's Ploy is the only thing that's going to have value from the grave. We can't do anything with it yet because we don't have any cards in the grave, but hopefully soon. Opponent untaps. They top deck. They hit us for 4. We go to 16. Opponent plays an Aeromoeba. We untap. We draw Cabal Initiate. So go to combat. Attack for 1. Opponent finally blocks. So I have 8 mana. I think what I'm going to do is pick up the Chattering Augur, replay it, and then play Cabal Initiate. Okay. Cabal Initiate being a 3/3 that can gain lifelink here is quite nice. I am sad to lose out on the Archon, though, to that Flay Essence. So I think I'm going to want to bring in Blacksmith Skill. Opponent has Greed, which they play. They are getting risky with it. They play a Soul Snare. Okay, that is unfortunate. They attack us for 4. They leave Aeromoeba back on defense. Okay, we untap. We draw Bone Shredder. So, play Bone Shredder. Kill Aeromoeba. I'm pretty sure this forces my opponent to exile the Cabal Initiate. Yeah, okay. So they're going to take 1 and go to 5. They're going to take 1 and go to 3. Do I play Patchwork Gnomes? Yeah, I think I do, because I'm gonna Tihada's Ploy, but only if I draw a land or a completely dead card. The wider I go, the more encouraged my opponent's going to be to block. I think playing out that Greed from that position is correct. I just think that my opponent is very close to dead. They attack us for 2 in the air. I'm not going to block. They pass. We untap. I will pay the Echo cost. Okay, we draw Plains. Ditch the Plains. Let's draw 2 cards, then discard a card. Discarding a Swamp. Go to combat. And attack for 1. Actually, swing out. If they block the gnomes, I actually think I have to regenerate the gnomes. No, I'm not going to regenerate the gnomes. Okay, maybe I am now. Yeah, let's do it now. So now if we get a reanimation spell, we're going to reanimate Disciple of the Sun, our last reanimation spell, because that lets us pick up Bone Shredder, and then Bone Shredder can kill the 2/4. My opponent can no longer greed. They only have 2 cards in hand, and they're at 2. We have lost our direct damage. At least I don't think we have any more. But they're getting to the point where they have to block Chattering Augur. We untap. We draw Necromancer's Familiar. So go to combat. Attack for 1. Okay, opponent blocks. Reasonable. Pick up our guy. Play the Familiar. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. Inevitable Betrayal ticking down. We really only have 2 turns to try and find a way through this. Because if they can get our Soul of Migration and make a bunch of blockers, I don't think we can actually kill them. I mean, I can just keep attacking with an Indestructible Necromancer's Familiar. That's probably not a bad idea. They attack for 2. No blocks. Then they pass. We untap. If I could get a Bone Shards, that'd be pretty good. Okay. So Late to Dinner. Disciple of the Sun. Pick up Bone Shredder. And the game is over. Nice! Alright, well, I will see you guys in round 3. Alright, we're on the play for round 3. And I don't want to keep a 6-lander, so I'm going to mulligan. This is actually pretty reasonable. I'm going to keep and put back Discerning Taste. I do need to draw 2 more lands. But I have a number of draws to actually do that, and 3 lands gets us most of the way there. So play Goldmire Bridge, pass the turn. Opponent leads on a forest. We untap. Plains is good. Play another Goldmire Bridge and pass. Opponent plays a Scalding Tarn. Fetches a mountain. And suspends Gargadon. We untap. We draw Goldmire Bridge. Awkward. So in order to play Late to Dinner on 4... Alright. Play a Patchwork Gnomes. Pass the turn. We can discard Archon of Cruelty at any time. Opponent plays a Forest. If my opponent plays a threat this turn and we don't draw an untapped land, we can just Bone Shredder, but it doesn't look like that's the case. Okay. Untap. We draw a Swamp. Perfect. Play the Swamp. Ditch Archon. Late to Dinner. Make him discard. We gain life and draw. Cabal Initiate. Go to combat. Hit him for 2. Opponent goes to 14. Pass the turn. The cool thing about Archon as a reanimation threat is that Archon replaces itself, even if it dies immediately. Okay, I think I want to bring in Blacksmith Skill versus this deck. I probably should be running it anyway. And what am I going to cut for Blacksmith Skill? It's probably Break Ties. I may actually need Break Ties in this matchup, depending on what my opponent is playing exactly. But we'll see. Alright, this is a mulligan. We have a threat, a reanimation spell, but no lands. Okay, if I ever wanted a hand with no... I think on 6 I gotta keep this. I'll put back a Late to Dinner. Opponent leads on Mountain, nothing. We untap. Draw a Swamp. Play Goldmire Bridge, pass the turn. Unless we draw the tapped blue land, we're probably playing Goldmire Bridge next turn. Yeah. Okay. Opponent suspends Gargadon. We untap. Draw another Goldmire Bridge. Play it. Pass the turn. Gargadon ticks down to 3. Opponent plays a Forest. They play Road. We get to ramp. We untap. Draw our 4th Goldmire Bridge. Play a 3rd. Pass the turn. Gargadon ticking down to 2. They play a Forest and pass. We untap. Draw Plains. Play a Swamp. Play Greed. Pass the turn. I don't think we have any good instant speed answers to Gargadon. So hopefully we just don't immediately die. Opponent Faithless Salvaging, pitching a Mountain. Opponent untaps. Salvaging, coming off of Rebound. Gargadon taken down to 1. Opponent ditches Goblin and Archomancer. Gargadon on 1. They draw a card. They have 3 cards in hand. They play Goblin and Archomancer. Then play Galvanic Relay. So they can play 2 extra cards, or 3 extra cards next turn. Mountain, Foundation Breaker, and Glimmerbairn. Then they play Chatterstorm. Alright. Opponent has a bunch of tokens. They can kill our greed next turn. We untap. We draw Patchwork Gnomes. Begin by greeting. Greed again. Greed again. I think I have to Bone Shards to kill an Archomancer. Oh, I don't want to greed right now, actually. So, kill an Archomancer, ditching Goldmire Bridge. Pass the turn, because I'm taking 11 this turn. But the issue is, even if I get Archon, I can't play it. Yeah, we would have been taking... Oh, no, I guess... This doesn't have haste. It was still correct to probably hit the Gargadon with that Bone Shards. I need to draw an Island and another Bone Shards off of Dehada's ploy. Okay, well, we're taking 11 and going to 3. We have no board wipes. Okay, we get a Discerning Taste. But I think even if I put Archon in the grave and hit Persist, I don't think I can win. Cabal Initiate might actually let me survive, maybe. No, it doesn't. Okay, we're going to game 3. So opponent's playing a lot of... Well, it's Red-Green Storm, so this is how the deck is supposed to work. I've been wondering because I have no idea how to actually play that deck. Alright, run it back. Let's keep a hand that doesn't just have greed and nothing else. That's kind of the definition of greed, isn't it? Alright, we'll play first. Archon, discard outlet, no reanimation spell, and only 2 lands. I do have Landscaper Kolos, so I can get the black mana. That'll put me at 3. I think this hand is fine to keep. It is a little bit risky. Lead on Razortide Bridge, but we should be able to cast basically any spell we draw. Opponent plays a Forest. Into a Glimmerbairn. We draw a Necromancer's Familiar, play a Plains. Pass the turn. Okay. On our opponent's turn, they play a Mountain. Into an Anarchomancer. And I think that's what I'm going to end up killing. Because the cost reduction is really good. Get a Swamp. When it goes to combat, they hit us for 1. We untap. We draw Goldmire Bridge. Play a Swamp. Kill an Archomancer, ditching Archon. It gives them the most time to exile it, but I need the other cards in my hand. We can't draw untapped land and Late to Dinner in the same turn either. Opponent plays an Archomancer and then attacks us for 1. We draw Late to Dinner, which will be perfect next turn. Play Patchwork Gnomes. Pass the turn. I'm suspecting a big Chatterstorm play here. Hopefully it's not big enough to kill us with Glimmerbairn. If it is, mad respect to my opponent. Bannerhide Cruciak. Opponent goes to combat. Attacks for 2. They may have the card that shuffles our grave into our library. There's a strong possibility that that is the case. If they do, they can cast it for 1 mana, and it's a blowout here. We draw Goldmire Bridge. We're going to go for it. And we got it. Alright. Opponent has to sack a creature. They discard Viashino Lashclaw, and we get a Blacksmith skill. Play the bridge, pass the turn. Now, if we dodge removal for 1 turn, this game is over. 100%. Actually, this game's over right now. Opponent's just like, they can't beat that. Alright. We trophied! We did it! Woo! Alright, well, I hope you guys enjoyed this content. If you did, please leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel if you're so inclined, and remember you can follow me on Twitch. Same username over there as you find me on here. I stream Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, though the last few times have been earlier than that. And I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm sorry that it came out so late. Like I said, we're still suffering some residual effects, lack of backlog, mainly due to the water cooler incident. But hopefully I'll be able to take a day tomorrow or the day after to try and regenerate some amount of backlog so that as I go about my week, I'm not forced to record every single day of the week. But we'll see what happens, and you guys are wonderful human beings. Thanks for watching. Bye! Hey, just wanted to give a shout out to my patrons for the month of June. If you want to have your name show up in this list, there's a link to my Patreon down in the description below. Thank you all.